Never had a lot, this is all I need.
What is up, guys? Welcome back to Scott Talks. Today, here with episode 5, and today I'm just going to talk a little bit about how baseball kind of changed my life off the field. So, for those of you guys who don't know, I did play baseball. Prefer to talk about basketball more than anything. I'm a huge hoops fan, but yes, I did play baseball, watch baseball from time to time. Not as much on TV and stuff as I watch basketball, but I do enjoy going to Nats games. And, of course, I have some pretty good baseball IQ too. But yeah, today we're going to talk about how baseball changed my life off the field and kind of some of the life lessons it taught me. So I think they're really good to share. Again, I played baseball in high school. I was an outfielder and pinch runner. And yeah, I'm just going to give you guys a little rundown of kind of story of my life. And kind of you guys will see how everything ties together. So without further ado, let's get into it. So, growing up, I played basketball, baseball, soccer, golf, and tennis. And then, I took swim lessons and stuff like that. So I played a few different sports. And with baseball, I played for a team called KLM Cougars. That was Kettering, Largo, Mitchellville. And so that was kind of like, I guess, equivalent to like a rec team or county team. It wasn't like a crazy travel team or anything like that. But, it was a nice county club team. And that's where I played with one of my best friends, Terrell. And so me and Terrell actually rode the same bus throughout my time at Goddard, which was first grade through 8th grade for me. So I've known Terrell probably now, let's see, that was 8 years, 4 years, that's 12. It's going on like 16, no, I can't count, like 14 years. I've known Terrell for a long time, and he's one of my best friends, one of my longest friends too. I might not talk to Terrell every day, but that's always someone, who's always going to be a brother to me. And so Terrell was the coach's son, Coach Tony, one of my favorite people. And Terrell was great, man. And one thing I like about Coach Tony, Terrell obviously was one of the best players on the team, if not the best player. But Coach Tony never made him feel like, he was better, or gave him special treatment. Like, he always made sure Terrell worked hard. Sometimes I even thought he was hard on him, but no. He always made sure that Terrell was on the same level as us or same page as us. He all treated us like, he's one of our kids. And one thing about Coach Tony, it was never always about winning. Like, of course, we wanted to win. He wanted us to win as well. And one thing he was really big on was, life lessons and learning other things outside of it, about sportsmanship, respect, brotherhood. Like, for instance, we were doing a drill or something or someone was down, he said, pick your brother up, help each other out, talk out there. He was real big on family and brotherhood, and that's something in some of those lessons I still carry today. And one thing about this time, this is when, I was real dedicated to baseball. We had an orchestra concert. I used to play the viola. Hated it. But we had a concert, and Terrell was on my team, and Terrell was in orchestra too, right? So Terrell was at the concert, and we have a game. So I'm at the game. Cool. Remember, his dad's the coach. So we play or whatever. Game finishes. My mom's like, "Oh, why wasn't Terrell there?" So again, I never told her about the concert because I did not want to go. I didn't practice. Did not want to be there. So after the game, talking to Coach Tony, he's like, "Oh yeah, Terrell's at the orchestra concert." My mom was like, "What?" Mind you, she's paying for this instrument. So that was a fun conversation. I don't think I got on punishment, but that was a fun conversation after that. So again, I skipped baseball. I skipped the concert to play baseball. So that was fun. But one thing also about Coach Tony, too, was so around the time of maybe middle school, I think I stopped playing for KLM. Like, I was strictly playing for our school team. I didn't really play, travel baseball or anything like that because I was never that dedicated. I always wanted to be a hooper. And also, I think 8th grade, I also was playing soccer, too. So I had a sport every season. But anyways, besides the point, so in middle school, that's around the time my parents got divorced. And one thing about Coach Tony, I don't even know if he knew or not that they were getting separated or anything like that. But he never would directly ask, like, "Hey, how are your parents?" He would just say, "Hey, you want to come over, chill out with him and Terrell, and then Terrell's brother, Tony," you know what I mean? And Terrell, his brother, his sister, his mom, dad, they all treated me like I was part of the family. And that's one thing I'll forever be grateful for, because, again, they don't even know how much that really helped, because one thing I've never been good at is really talking about my feelings, stuff that's going on. So for them to, just kind of have that open door and be there, it really meant a lot. And Coach Tony was the first person to ever take me to a football game. And the crazy part about it is Johnny Manziel was my favorite football player at the time. I don't really watch football or anything like that. But I just liked him because, he's this Canadian guy. They call him Money Manziel, and that was the first ever football game I went. It was a preseason Redskins versus Browns game. So that was cool. But yeah, just, Coach Tony's emphasis on family and helping others. And, that just something that's always stuck with me. And I always thank Coach Tony to this day just for being there. Him and Terrell, again, they never would directly ask, oh, how are your parents? How is this? How is that? But they just always were there for me. And that was, the support that I needed at that time that really did get me through some dark times. So Terrell, Coach Tony, if you're ever listening to this, I just want to say thank you guys so much. Both of you guys mean a lot to me. Yeah, I think they really helped influence the way I am with, supporting others and stuff like that because they did it for me. Again, Coach Tony, I didn't talk to him in a while. I was like, hey, can you write this recommendation letter for me for Morehouse? Because that was one of the schools I was considering at the time. And I think I texted him, let's say, 11 a.m. By noon, he had it back to me, and again, he was at work, so that was huge. That's just a lot of love, and that's just support. I really appreciate that. Now let's move on to middle school. So middle school, in Prince George's County, we didn't have sports 6th grade year, because budget cuts or something, and then they finally brought it back my 7th grade year. And so I went to Goddard, which was 2 schools in one building. So there was a Montessori side of the school, which is, Robert Goddard Montessori, and there was the French immersion side. So they were 2 separate schools, whatever, but we had to play in the same sports teams and stuff because, it didn't make sense. We only had so many gyms and stuff like that. So I started on that team as a 7th grader. And this is back when I was playing baseball, taking it serious. Man, I had an arm on me, and that's back when I could actually hit a baseball. Because after that, I don't know. I think I forgot. I don't know what happened. I just could not hit a baseball in game anymore. But anyways, yeah, so I started as a 7th grader. And I had a coach. He was telling me I wouldn't be able to play high school baseball because the way that I guess I threw the ball at the time. I don't know, but I just knew I had a better arm than most people. But I guess my mechanics were off. And that's something that I will say for everything. I've never been the most fundamentally sound person, mechanics-wise. But, I was like, I'm not going to listen to this guy. But it kind of, gave me this chip on my shoulder. And then on top of that, that's also in baseball, just in sports in general. Again, I might not always be the most athletic guy. I might not always be the most skilled. But I'm always going to have the most heart, and I think that's something that I took pride in being a leader in the sense that, I was always one of the first people to practice, one of the last people to leave. I always helped clean up. I always helped, whatever, during drills and stuff. I'm giving 110%, you know what I mean? Hustling and just stuff like that. And I think some of the younger guys look up to, during the huddles, I'm talking, making sure I always break off 1, 2, 3 team, stuff like that. I think that's where I found my niche, and that's why I found in sports. I'm not going to be the best because at a certain point, once you start getting a little bit older, it's no longer just about skill. It's about, some people are just more athletically gifted, whatever. So I found my niche of, just being the heart of the team. And that was my thing in middle school. So now get to high school. So freshman year, I didn't play because I was in a specialty program at my school. So it was above our honors program. It was our highest honors program or whatever called Summit. And so because of that, my mom wanted me to focus on my grades. So I didn't touch a baseball all freshman year. Didn't go to any workouts, nothing. So I was behind a lot of the other guys, play on travel teams who've been working out and who made that team. I wasn't out there. And then junior year, I was like, okay, I'm gonna play. So I made the JV team, cool. And so I was a lot faster than a lot of the other guys. I've always been a lot faster than most of the guys at Bowie. That was my thing. But skill-wise, there was definitely guys who were more skilled than me. But one thing about JV, at least in PG County, most people's JV teams are trash. Most of the other teams, some of them don't even have JV teams. Some of them just are real bad because, a lot of their underclassmen who are good, they're playing varsity just because, baseball's not a big sport in some of those areas. So we be blowing teams out sometimes by 20, 30 points in baseball. That's not heard of. And my coach would not put us in, me and a bunch of the other sophomores, we would just not get playing time. And that definitely was pretty discouraging just because, I'm dang, I'm showing up to practice every day. I'm working hard. And he's, sitting in my face telling me, you're getting better and I'm not getting in. So that was definitely a tough pill to swallow. And it kind of definitely made me lose some love for the game. But, I kept working hard. And I think the other thing, too, was I'm really an outfielder. He was trying to get me to play third base. And our third baseman, his name was Josh. Josh played varsity the very next year. Like, Josh was athletic, man. Like, I wasn't getting playing time for Josh. But one day, the guy in front of me, Fox, he's one of my good friends. I used to, oh my gosh, not despise Fox, but I used to despise how the coach, like, Fox could do no wrong in the coach's eye. Like, he played him no matter what. He would never give me time in left field. And then one day, Fox decided to go play basketball, I think, either instead of showing up to practice or to the game. So I got in. I got some catches, then got a hit, so then after that, I finally started getting some playing time on the season. Cool, so that definitely put my confidence up. But one thing, too, was I was ready to quit, but one of my good friends, Mikey, I mean, to this day, Mike, if you're listening to this, thank you, bro. You really were that positive force behind me, because Mike really did his thing, man. He always would tell me, hey, bro, just keep working hard, don't give up, and just having that in my ear and having that person in my corner, I appreciate it. And Mike was better than me. Mike was on the team, he didn't have to do that. He went out of his way to make sure to encourage me and stuff, man. That just shows you the type of person he is. Same thing with his mom. She's a super nice person, giving me rides back home before, stuff like that. So I really do appreciate both of them, because, again, they didn't have to try to support me. Mike had his spot secured, but he made sure to go out of his way to come back. So I appreciate that. And that also, again, just taught me, look out for other people, even if you're up. Like, never forget others and where you came from. So then junior year, I got cut. Didn't make the team. I was like basically the manager. And just, that hurt. But it kind of helped too, because I didn't have the same responsibilities of going to practice every day and stuff like that. My grades were real nice. So okay, cool, whatever. Now senior year. All right, so my grades are good and everything. I'm like, I'm making varsity. I'm going to make an impact on this team. So I go to all the winter workouts. I'm working out by myself. Like, I'm getting real good shape. That's probably some of the best shape I've ever been in. Cool, make the team. I'm on varsity now. And so on varsity, again, my niche was I'm the heart of the team. Like, I'm not the best player by any means. And my skill-wise, I'm not impacting the game. But, I'm definitely that spark of energy. Hey, every play, talking out there. Whenever people come in from between each inning, batting, going back to the field, getting high fives, talking people up. That's my niche. And so another thing too was I was a real funny guy. Like I'm real funny. So I'm joking around. So, and I think a lot of the other guys like on the team, I definitely felt like I brought some guys together, because I was also friends with Isaiah, Nigel, Elias. Again, it's three of our best players. They're leagues ahead of me in baseball. But again, we mesh, we all joking around. And I think that definitely helped some of the other guys kind of accept me on the team, because it's like, okay, the best players are messing with them. Like, you know what I mean? So they definitely always showed love and treated me like I was part of the family, even though everyone on that team knew I wasn't that good. So shout out to them. But this is where I'm getting at with all this. So I had something to do one week in Baltimore, and I told my coach I was sick, and then I think I posted something on Snapchat. They saw it, whatever. So my coach found out that I lied to him, right? And so Coach Harris had two options, right? He could easily kick me off the team. I'm not getting in. I'm expendable. I'm a senior who's barely getting playing time. We got younger guys on JV and even on the roster right now who probably make more of an impact than me. I'm not really missing anything. Right now, I'm just an extra body and uniform on the field. But Coach Harris, and I thank you so much for this, I basically had like a suspension. And not the suspension where, I wasn't allowed to come to practice. No, I still had to come to practice, still had to go to games, suit up, everything, warm up before games, everything, still had to go warm up the outfielders. And in doing that, it taught me, like, man, Coach Harris knows he doesn't need me on this team, but he was teaching me a life lesson. And that's, to be honest and stuff like that. But also one thing I'm super glad about Coach Harris also sat down and talked to me. He didn't just, okay, here's your suspension, keep it pushing. No. Coach Harris, sat me down during practice and was like, hey, what's wrong? This is out of character for you. You're a guy who I view as a leader and, stuff like that. And that's really was a big wake-up call for me, because here's the varsity baseball coach who has, let's just say, I think we had like 18 people on that roster. There's at least 14, 15 other guys on that roster who are contributing, doing good. And he's sitting down with me saying, look, like, I view you as this leader. the other guys look up to, and that was a big turning point for me because at this point, up until this point, I'm kind of thinking, okay, I'm just kind of on this team because, I'm a senior. I've been, trying out, been with the program, so they're just going to take me on board. But no, he really did feel, like I was a dugout leader. A lot of the guys looked up to me, I'm a positive influence on the team. So for him to be like, hey, what's wrong, to sit down with me and actually talk, show that he cared, that definitely meant something to me. Same thing with, again, him even suspending me instead of just straight up cutting me from the team, kicking me off the team. Like, that meant a lot. I mean, he told me some stories about when he was growing up, you don't have to have everything figured out in life. You know what I mean? Like, it's okay, So, just, again, I want to thank Coach Harris because he really changed my life because I was going down a different path. I mean, I had some other stuff going outside of school, and he really just sat down and showed me that he cared, and that just shows the importance of having, like, a coach and how much a coach or teacher, just, adult in your life can make a difference because, again, just having that person in your corner showing that they care, that's a huge booster. So, Coach Harris, I want to say thank you. You really saved my life. I was definitely going down a dark path. At the time, I had some of my friends who passed, just stuff like that, and Coach Harris really sat down with me and changed my life. So I thank you, Coach. And then what baseball really taught me from all this was, family. Don't let those guys on your team. That's your family while you're out there. During the season, that's your family. On and off the field. Like, I was eating lunch with those guys, Lil Will, Josh, Eli. We were all eating lunch together. Bonding. And then my boy Colin. Eric, that was one of my guys too. I've been playing KLM with him. Same thing with when we transitioned over to the season. What else was happening, man? Nigel, Isaiah, Mikey, Fox, Tavon. Those are some of my closest friends. I talk to them, if not every day. Nigel, if I don't talk to him every day, we have our group chat. We talk pretty often. Oh, I forgot about Long, Jaden Long. Yeah, like, they've all became my brothers. It's not like, oh, these are my teammates. No, these are my brothers. It's mad love. Same thing with even some of my younger guys on the team, JV guys, Keith and Julian, man. Those guys were super cool dudes. Again, I view them as like little brothers, so it's like, I want to make sure they have the best for them. Especially my boy Julian, man. We had the same last name, and Lipscomb wasn't a common last name, at least to me. So, I used to always joke, like, what's up, cousin? And his dad would talk to me, just stuff like that. So to see them grow, even now, like, again, I'm 2 years removed now from high school, but, I always like to check in and see that stuff. So baseball really taught me family, and that's something I'm forever grateful for. And this episode definitely went a little bit over 15 minutes, but I just really wanted to get out there, like, it's important to have your brothers back, to have your sisters back. If you're a girl watching this, like, baseball taught me a sense of family. It taught me a sense of looking out for one another, supporting people, making sure, you really are in their corner. That doesn't just mean asking them when you think something's wrong. It just means being there and being that shoulder to lean on even when that person doesn't want to talk about it. So, again, thank you guys for listening. If you did make it this far, shoot me a tweet, something about maybe a sports memory or coach that impacted your life. Again, you guys know where to find me. Instagram and Twitter at DMV_Scott, and on Twitter at podcast_Scott. We're about to hit 19 minutes, so I'm going to ride these last 3 seconds out, and over and out. Toodaloo.